Need a better tripod. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Zach. Hey, I'm here today in the shed and I'm working on a project actually between me and you. I'm making a little something for my buddy for his birthday. But we were on that elk hunt and there was a day um, when I was sitting on a ridge and it was cold and foggy. It's actually the day that I talked to the camera a lot about how things had been going. But anyhow, on that day, I had this wild hair that I was going to start a fire. And I got out my kit, which I use the word kit really loosely. I got out a lighter. And I attempted to start a fire. And that went nowhere. It was damp. It was cool. It had snowed. I could not get a fire going for the life of me. And I realized then that I'm not a good enough bushman, woodsman, whatever the right word is, to start a fire if I don't have a little bit of help. So I set about doing some research on Pinterest, and I found some cool ideas and different videos and things that I saw on ways that you can make like DIY fire starter slash first aid, not first aid, like fire starting kits basically. So I'm going to turn the camera around here and look down here at the workbench, and I'm going to show you some of the things that I've gathered to use to try to put together a couple fire starter kits, one of which I'm going to... Okay, so here is what we've got going on. You can kind of see my little production line here. So I'm just going to start going through each of the kits. So first off, I started with a Husky 6-inch waterproof storage bin. It's got a rubber gasket around the edge. And my theory is that once I get everything in there and I close it all up and seal it in tight, everything will stay dry since it's waterproof. With that being said, that allowed me to add in some things that I wasn't initially planning on, like just a random assortment of Strike Anywhere matches, a box of Strike on the Box matches, and a book of just regular good old-fashioned kitchen matches, whatever you want to call those. So we've got that in there. We've got just a simple striker, ferro rod thing. They actually will slip together for storage, but they won't fit in the kit if I do that. So I've just got them kind of tucked in there. I could potentially take that cord off of there, and I might. But for now, there's enough room for that. And then I was at Home Depot when I got these, and I grabbed one of these kind of strong sharpening construction pencils, little pencil sharpener things, because I figured if you could find some dry wood and you needed to make some kindling, you could take that and, run a stick through there and make some wood shavings to help with all of that. Okay, and then the other thing that I've got going on is some tea lights, right? So I've just got some simple, I picked them up at Walmart for a couple bucks. There's a gazillion of them in there, enough for multiple kits. Some simple tea lights, and then to have tea lights, for some dry tinder, we've just got these makeup remover cotton pad things. You could tear them and fluff them and do all sorts of stuff to make a spark with those. I actually have some other plans for those, but I just threw them in there because I had them. So I put some in there so they'll stay dry in theory and be an available source of tinder if you need it. And then right now I'm in the process of experimenting with these last two containers. I'm going to do a couple things. Oh, I should finish here first. Sorry. I do have two small baggies. So I used, this small baggie type like this, right? And then I picked up these, which I'm going to throw one of these in with each kit too and just kind of set it on top. Maybe tie it down with a bungee strap or something. I don't know. It's something off a Shark Tank. I found it at Walmart. It's a chemical reaction fire thing. Like, look at that thing. It burns 5 to 7 minutes. Burns at nearly 1,000 degrees. So when I was trying to light wet wood on fire up in the hills during that elk hunt, if I'd have had this, I could have got a fire going. So what I did with this, just to stretch it some, is I took this and it said 1/8 in a cup, and it said this lights up to 4 fires, right? So I blended this with this, which is just cedar shavings that we like. I use it for like bedding for my dogs and chickens and stuff, but it's like basically just dry shreds of wood. So I mixed that with 1/4 of a bag of that into one of these small bags, folded that in half, and tucked that in here, and that's what you see right down there is 2 baggies of super intense high heat fire starters. So I've got that going. Okay, then my last 2 containers here, I'm going to do 2 things. Number 1, I'm in the process of making some super matches, and I'm doing it a couple different ways. So method number 1, I think I saw on a video from Field and Stream, where you take a strike anywhere match, and then you wrap chenille around that, and then we're going to dip it in wax. So I got this thing of wax over here for like $3 from Walmart. Warm fall leaves seemed appropriate for hunting kit. And then I'm going to melt all this down, and I'm just going to dunk these in there and completely coat the whole thing in wax so that it will be completely sealed, tight, waterproof. And just kind of sealed all the end of that, right? And then I dunk the whole thing in wax. You peel the tip off of the end and light it, and it apparently burns for a very long time since it has to burn through all of that wax coated goodness with all of that great surface area. My poor phone is trying to focus on like everything under the sun. So that's like super match number 1. Okay, super match number 2 is a similar concept, only I use toilet paper. Okay, so instead of the chenille, I've just got this toilet paper roll, which I cut in half. I used 2 square sheets of toilet paper to make this 1 match. Okay, so 3 matches rolled up inside of toilet paper. I just rolled it around one, then tucked in another one, then tucked in the third one, kept rolling, put a single little tiny strip of athletic tape around it there to hold it all together until I melt the wax. And then I'll be able to just dunk all of that in wax. So we'll have 3 or 4 of these and a pile of these in each of these kits. And then in this last compartment here, I'm actually going to take these and dip them in the same wax when I melt it. My theory is that it's in this nice glass container, so I'm just going to put the whole thing in the microwave and melt it because I don't want to burn the candle. So I'll just get that all liquid, and then I'll dip my stuff in there. I'll set it back out and let it get hard again, and I can just continue to make these things over and over again with this exact same container, in theory. So there we go. 2 kits are coming together. One last time with this thing of wax. So anyway, I'm going to dip the back ends of all of these. And then we'll let the wax dry a little bit. It's drying really fast already. You can see that it's like totally dry. I could probably actually put those in there already. But anyway, I'm going to dip these, and then we'll let them dry, and we'll assemble our kits. Okay, so there is the finished kits, all loaded up and ready to be put in an emergency pack or a bug out pack or whatever you might want to use them for. I did figure out the hard way that they're stiff. Like, we're gonna light one on fire outside, but if you start bending them, like, see the white starting to come there? So I think that if I bent them too much, they may lose a tiny bit of their water preventative properties. So I'm just going to have these as reserve. Right now I got 3 in each kit added, and then in that compartment there was so much space that was where I tried to put most of the super matches. So there's the chenille super match. Down below there are the 2 other kinds of super matches, which are the ones with the athletic tape, which I'm going to take these outside and test them because I'm curious. And the ones with the blue shop towel. So we have 3 different kinds, and we're going to go light these 3 off and see how they go. I know it's not a super scientific test because there's different amounts of material, but I'm still curious. So anyway, and then over in the other side is where I put all of the super matches. So this is where all of the bundles of 3 were able to go, and I was able to get 10 and some change in each of these. So there's 10 super matches. There's at least 5, 6, 7, 8. There's at least 8 to 10 of the smaller version of the super match. 3 of those on top of everything else that was listed before. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. The whole thing closes up nice and tight, just like that. It's got these super heavy clamp systems on those 3 sides, so the whole thing is super secure. And like, honestly, I mean, there's some weight there. There's some wax in there and a couple things that are heavy, but if this is the thing that's going to make it so that you can have 100% for sure fire out in the woods, I have no problem packing that around with me. Okay, might also be something good to keep in a car in the wintertime or something like that, just so that if you are ever in an emergency situation and you need to be able to start a fire to stay warm, you've got what you need. The concept at least is there. So anyway, there you go. Little DIY fire kit. Give it a shot. You might be happy you have it, and sad if you don't when you need it. You want to say hi to everybody? Say, hello, I want to make fire. Or really, I want someone to feed my belly. I think that's your deal. You want some food, don't you? Okay, let's feed you.